So you brought in your GoPro or your DSLR footage into your computer and it doesn't really look that good. It looks still like it's just lacking something. Well, I'm gonna show you guys a quick tip using something called LUT in your editing software that I think will make the video look a million times better. All right guys, we've jumped over into Adobe Premiere. I'm using Adobe Premiere for this project because it's the tool that I use for all my stuff and it's really easy to do in Premiere. You can also use Final Cut 10 or DaVinci or any of the other software that's out there. You can actually even do a lot of this stuff on your iPhone as well with apps like Chromic, and even Instagram I guess now has some filters. This is a little bit more advanced than the basic stuff you can do on your phone. I want to show you guys some tips and tricks on how I color grade my videos and give it that extra little bit of oomph. Now the first thing I want to talk about is the difference between color correcting and color grading. I think a lot of people use these terms as if they're the same, but that's not the case. So color correcting is actually going into each one of your clips and correcting the white balance and correcting the exposure. Color grading is stylizing the footage and giving it a certain look. So if I went through these shots here, I could check the white balance and the exposure in each clip and adjust those, and that is color correcting. Now, what we're going to talk about more so in this video is I'm going to show you guys some color correcting techniques, but we're going to jump right into color grading. So this is all footage I shot while here in Canada, and it looks really good. I've got some stabilizer shots, I've got some tripod shots, I've got some handheld shots, and it looks good. I mean, it's straight out of the camera. It looks good, but I think when you add the color grade, you can make it look even better. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I have a few clips already selected. I am going to come down to the bottom left corner. By the way, I'm using the all panels view. This is the default view for all panels, so if you guys click on all panels, you'll be able to follow along. I'm going to come down here to the bottom left. I'm going to click on adjustment layer. I'm going to press OK, and I'm going to drag the adjustment layer to the third video layer here. And this adjustment layer, basically anything I put in here will be affecting all the clips underneath it. So, and why you'd want to do that is, maybe I want to come up with a style that I want to use throughout my entire video. I don't want to apply this effect on every single clip. I want to apply it on one layer and use it throughout my entire video. Also, that way if I change the style a little bit, it'll affect all the clips and I don't have to go back and copy and paste it from every clip. So let's see here. Here's our first shot. Let's take a look at this shot. We'll come over to the side. There's a section called Lumetri Color, and this is where we're going to do all of our coloring at. There's a few different tabs within here: basic, creative, curves, color wheels. Let's start off with the creative tab here. If we go into this creative tab, you'll see a bunch of different little sliders. Now, if I start to boost the vibrance here, let's say I boost the saturation, it's starting to look kind of crazy vibrant and popping, and then you'll notice that it's actually applied to all of the clips. I can turn on and off the layer and you can see the difference. So you can tell that it's starting to kind of give it a look. Now if I didn't want to use any kind of presets or anything and I wanted to create my own look, which I think at some point everybody should do, you know, after you're done using presets, you should start to come up with your own little look. That way you're kind of more unique. You know, you can come in here and maybe add a little bit of fade, and then you start to kind of create your own look you can use in your videos where you're doing something that's a little bit more unique. For the purposes of this video, and you know, in a lot of cases with a lot of the projects that I work on, I use something else that's called a LUT, L-U-T. Basically that is it's almost like a preset. It's actually a film emulation to give your video kind of like a look of like something that you might see in Hollywood or a film stock, and I think they're pretty powerful and a lot of them look really good, and you can find a lot of free ones, you can find a lot of paid ones online, you can find all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to reset everything over here and show you guys kind of what I'm talking about when it comes to that. Oh, that's not what I want. So here we are, back to normal. I am going to use, the first thing I want to show you guys is one called Aspen. These are a bunch I have, but this one called Aspen is actually a free one that I found online. If you search Aspen Lut in Google, you'll find it. Right off the bat, it's way too strong. So underneath where I applied it here under look, there's a slider that says intensity. We are going to bring it way, way back. In this case, maybe to 50%. See, now that's already starting to look cool, and now I've basically applied a stylized look. Now Aspen kind of plays off the blue and orange that a lot of typical Hollywood films use. There's also a lot of big Instagrammers and filmmakers now that are using kind of like this Aspen look. What I'll do after I apply the look on some of these clips, because it doesn't really look great in all of them, is I'll come into each individual clip. Now I'm deselecting the adjustment layer and selecting the actual clip. I'll go over here to basic correction, and I'll basically rock back the temperature slider until there's a bit more of a balance between the colors. So on this shot, it needed to be a little bit more warm. Slide to the right. Same with this. This shot's really cool. Add a little bit more warmth. Come back over here. This shot is actually on the darker side, so I can boost the exposure a little bit. Maybe boost the shadows as well. I'll come here to the temperature and I'll play with that a little bit as well. It's starting to look pretty good. Same thing with this shot. It could perhaps be a little bit cool, and I'll come over here and make it a little bit warmer, and now it's popping a little bit more. And this shot I think also is probably a little on the dark side. I could bring up the shadows here as well. So that's an example of how to use the LUT very quickly. So let's go through some of the other LUTs that I have. That one, as I mentioned, is a free one. I also downloaded a pack online from another person that's free as well. If you guys search for free LUTs on Google, you guys will find so many of them are out there. These are just a few that I've used. Let's see how this one looks. So let's go back and set the intensity back to 100%. So this is a little bit different of a look. It looks a little bit darker overall. Again, each time I'd go in here, I'd go back under basic correction and I'd play around with that white balance to really find the perfect happy medium between you know, the warmth and the coolness. So that's cool. I think I might like the other one a little bit more, but I have another one I want to show you guys that's actually a paid one, but I think that it's a really good set. So we'll come back under creative, we'll go to look, and let's go down all the way to M31. Click on this, and this one I tend to use quite a bit, and I really do like the colors of it. I think right now it's probably a little bit too intense, so let's dial it back a little bit to like maybe 75% or so. But this one can be pretty cool. I mean, it's starting to give us a very kind of unique look. All these shots are from kind of different locations and different times of the day, so they might not match up that well right away. Kind of have to play with it a little bit. The main thing is really, I'd say more than anything, this temperature slider is just so powerful. I'd say use that and try not to fiddle with anything else until you get the balance just right. I mean, this shot right here of Tyler is so cool. It just has this cool outdoorsy film, indie film look to it. So another thing you can do to make it stand out if you really want to go for a cinematic look, let's go onto our adjustment layer. If we go up to effects, search for crop, double click on crop, and then if we come up here in the top left to effect controls, we'll come over here to crop and we'll put top 10%, bottom 10%. Now we're really starting to get to the point where we've taken our footage and made it really cinematic. If that's what you're going for, at least. If we click on the clip itself, we're clicking back to the clip itself, and we come over here in the top left to position, then we can drag this up and down to kind of like frame the shot a little bit better. And there we go. That's pretty cool. And now we've taken footage that looks potentially slightly amateur or even home video-ish, and we've really taken it to the next level. And you can see how just with some basic adjustments with color and using LUTs, we can create something that looks a lot more cinematic and professional. Let's go back to the beginning, and I'll flip on and off the adjustment layer as it plays so you guys can see a difference. I mean, that's incredible. And this could be your iPhone footage, this can be your DSLR footage, this can be your GoPro footage. If you guys are putting in GoPro footage, another technique I use a lot is if you have Premiere, if you actually search for GoPro, you can apply these effects and they'll remove the distortion, which I think helps make GoPro footage look so much better. So yeah, it's a very powerful tool, and there's a lot you guys can do. I'd say the color grading stuff is really what can take your footage to the next level, and play around with it a little bit. Maybe you add this LUT, change the percentage on the LUT, you know, make it, increase it a little bit, decrease it a little bit, find what you like. I mean, there's a lot of different LUTs that are out there. You can buy a lot of different packs. M31 is part of a pack called Osiris that I really like. There's so many LUTs. Just search Google for LUTs, free LUTs. You can find free ones, paid ones. There's a lot of options out there. If you guys didn't know, I made 4 other videos while here in Canada covering techniques in photography and filmmaking, and I think they're really useful tips and tricks that'll help you guys up your photography and video game a lot. So if you haven't seen those, go check them out, and thanks for watching.